Mark, I always feel like we should do a cold open. So I'm not gonna say hi to everyone first.
Okay.
We're gonna try a cold open.
Let's do this.
What do people do in a cold open?
Sketches. Let's do a sketch.
Let's do a sketch. Let's do pod improv.
Yes, comedy. That's what people have always been asking. We get that request at least once a week.
Yeah, they say enough of the films,
Yeah.
more comedy.
Yeah, they say you guys are so funny. You should just do comedy instead of talking about stuff that people aren't interested in, like movies.
I'm not gonna lie, this is really uncomfortable. Lovely. Hello.
It's too
and
intense.
welcome to episode 87 of the Power Pod with your boys, myself, Owen, and
Myself, Mark.
how are we getting on?
How you getting on, guys?
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, my heart rate is through the roof after that.
Why?
That was uncomfortable.
The cold open.
That didn't feel right. We're
Like
too
a
far.
cold shower.
We're too far in to go for a cold open.
To change anything.
Yeah, to change anything. The system has worked so far.
Yeah, true.
You know.
Very true. How was your week? How did you get on?
My week is very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
have a good time.
Did the Darkness into Light walk.
Very cool.
First time ever doing it. Because what were the reasons? We always had exams on a Saturday. Twice when Darkness into Light was on.
Really?
Yeah, I remember because I couldn't go to both. I was
Mm.
I was meant to go with my family. I was like, nah, I got an exam in the morning. I'm not doing that walk.
Oh man, no way.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll donate, but I'm not doing the walk.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is my first year getting to do it, and it was cool.
I've never done it now.
No.
I've never done it myself.
It's it seems to be like not as popular as it was, but maybe that's because COVID and shit. Still,
I thought
I
it
don't
was seems like the reverse. Like more and more people are doing it.
I did it out in Malahide and wasn't that
Packed
that
up.
packed.
Oh.
Like it was like it was full, but my family done it before, and they said like there's way less people this year than there was the previous years.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure it wasn't on last year, and it definitely wasn't on the year before that.
Oh yeah, no way. Yeah.
No, definitely wasn't sure it was May 2020. No way, Jose. May 2020.
Those were dark days.
Yeah, they were
There
fucking
was
hell.
no lightness back then.
There was
It was just all darkness. Darkness into
into darkness, into darkness,
Yeah.
into darkness. That's a great segue into Berserk.
Oh,
I've been reading some Berserk,
some manga.
some manga. I need to pull up the name of the author for this because it's very important.
Some Japanese guy.
Some Japanese guy. I want to say his name is like Minoru, or something like that. But Miura, that's his name, Miura. So Berserk is this manga by this guy called Miura, and I recently started reading this. And it's like famed. It's very influential manga. Like I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Guts at some stage of their life, or like at least like a dude carrying a really really big sword. If you've ever seen that, it's from this.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it.
I
I don't know if it's just you talking about it or different stuff though. I probably have seen it as well in the wild.
I feel like it's in the culture.
Yeah,
you know,
it's in the canonical brain.
it's in the what's that fucking mad pretentious word?
It's in the zeitgeist.
The zeitgeist. I feel like Berserk is always kind of in the zeitgeist. And so like Berserk was started in like the 90s. I want to say the 90s, and it's been going on for years. August 1989 is when it started, and the author recently died. He died like last year,
Oh shit.
and so Berserk will never get its like proper finish, like, and according like from where I'm at right now, that is hard to see because Berserk turns into like a revenge kind of story over something that happens. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it, but the revenge, or like anywhere, it doesn't seem like it's anywhere really near the revenge part of it. Because the way the Berserk starts is it starts like at the midway point of like where the story wrapped like is at the moment, since the guy died.
Yeah.
It's at like the halfway point, and then it goes back to the start of the story, and then we go up to see like why Guts was the way he was in the middle of the story, and then the end point is like 2/3 of the way through or something like that. So like there's a lot left, and I don't think it's gonna get it. It might not get a finish. It might. There's like rumors that some guy might take it over, who's mates with the original author, but it's not for certain. But I'm reading that at the moment, and the whole thing is about. It's weird because Berserk's like theme and message is about like things ending and moving on when things end. And it's just kind of sad that the manga about things ending and then moving on will never actually get its end, or like its end is cut short because of real life tragedy. So it's just like the whole thing is the grimmest shit I have ever read. If like for people, I don't think many people might. I don't know how many manga listeners we have in the audience.
We'll get more now.
Yeah, we'll get like one extra because of this. But like, I just got to the eclipse part, which is like 100 or so chapters in, and that is like, you know me, I got a stomach for like violence and like disturbing shit. Had to take a 20-minute break. Like,
that's a serious statement as well.
I was like, I need to stop for a bit. This is, I don't feel okay reading this. It was like reading when I was watching Possession for the first time. I had to stop and watch an episode of Gravity Falls. But Berserk is way more intense than that. But yeah, it is grim. It is bleak. I don't know where the light is at the end of this tunnel, but I'm in for the ride because Guts is a good boy.
Yeah,
he's an awful man, but he's a good boy deep down.
All right. So what's like the kind of community like reaction to the ending, or like the non-ending? Like, are people happy with how it ended, or like, or
it's just like sadness from what I understand.
so people think that there wasn't really an ending?
No, because like it ends. Apparently, it ends. From what I've heard, it ends with the main character Guts on a boat, traveling somewhere. Like, if he chooses one way, it's what he's been fighting for, and like his whole purpose of like fighting Griffith or like beating Griffith or whatever. And the other way is like he won't get what he wants, but he'll be happier if he picks that option.
Yeah. And
apparently the manga ends before like he makes a decision. So that is an ending.
I think that sounds like a cute ending.
That is an ending. But it is 2/3 of the way through the story, so
yeah. Oh, like when did he die?
I think it was last year. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he had 30 years to end it.
Yeah, but he was like just suffering for, like, this like nearly killed him. This is like Berserk was like, he's like one of the mangaka artists that you can point towards. That's like, this is why writing a weekly manga is
Bad
like soul destroying.
Yeah.
And like bad for your health.
Yeah, I'd say it is. Yeah.
Because like this thing, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like there's like in 2013 or something like that, because I was watching a video about it. In 2013 there was a 17 or 18 month like gap between chapters. So like things, they took a while to come out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Hunter x Hunter at this stage.
That's still going, yeah.
That's still going.
Yeah.
There wasn't a chapter released last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
that ain't good, but they're having obviously problems of their own,
Oh, that the same thing
they're
with that
just
manga.
fucked.
He's like one of them that's like he's just burnt out, can't do it. From what I understand, I'm not obviously I don't 100% understand their situations, but it certainly seems like it.
That sounds a bit grim. Doing what you love though, suffering for meaning. Maybe that's a virtuous cause.
Maybe it is.
At the end of the day, that's art. Isn't
if there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Light at the end of the dark.
I feel like we're mad low on the yolks.
I think that's just our vibe today, man.
Maybe it is. We're on a sleepy vibe.
We're on a talk radio late night vibe. Talking about philosophy.
We are definitely not a morning.
No,
are we a morning podcast?
I don't know. Are we?
When do listeners let us know? When do you listen to us?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know when people listen to us, because I don't know what our vibe is. Are we like a sultry late night podcast?
Yeah, we are. It's definitely sultry. We're definitely a late night thing, I think. Or evening at least.
Evening at least. Maybe in work. I imagine most people listen to us in work.
Yeah.
Weird. Who the fuck listens to us? And more importantly, why?
Yeah. That's the bigger question.
That is the great question.
Yeah, but mornings though, no way you can wake up to this in the morning. We talk about some heavy things, man.
We talk about real dark shit.
Yeah, we talk about real shit, man.
We talk about nightmares.
Yeah. Yeah.
on Elm Street.
Whoa, segue.
You watched this, didn't you?
I did indeed. I had a look at this today as well.
A wee goosey gander.
It was on the old dockade. I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
I had
You
to
know,
do it.
It's
Because I said I would do it, so.
it's also one of the. It's the final bit for great, horror franchises that we haven't talked about. Haven't touched Nightmare on Elm Street.
I've not.
I have never watched anything Nightmare on Elm Street wise. So good place to start with the first
Neither
one.
have
You know.
Neither have I.
What did you think?
It was not what I expected, I have to say.
It isn't.
It wasn't really what I expected. Because it's not. I don't know, it just didn't seem like a slasher in the way that I was imagining it would be.
It's way more psychological than I thought it would be.
It just seemed more like a teen drama with loads of slasher elements. It's something that I feel like could have been made more recently.
What do you think of Freddy?
Freddy, he's not really in it, is he?
He's really weird.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I love the way that he's like, walking down. He's got really long arms, and he's like, oh, look at this, and he just like slices his finger off.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this. It's all a dream.
Yeah, I thought he'd be way more involved.
He's really not. But how could he be at the same time?
Yeah, but I think I was just going based off the Simpsons parody of the film, where Willie's talking to them constantly about like how he's going to kill them and stuff. He doesn't really like that at all.
Maybe that's the next view.
Yeah,
because this is really like, this is it sticks to the rules that it gives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a rule, you can only get you when you're sleeping. As long as you can stay awake, you're good to go.
You're grand, yeah.
But
Don't
it seems
fall
like at the end of this, in a similar way to Paprika, dreams and reality start to form. She's like, she's basically like she's awake, but she's asleep at the same time.
Yeah, because sometimes you can't tell.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not obvious. Ever get that? It's actually a thing where they do sleep studies. When sometimes you wake up and you're like, I slept like 9 hours, but I feel bollocks.
Yeah.
Or like you're like, I didn't sleep at all,
but
I feel.
You didn't get that REM.
Yeah. But or like you go, you didn't really sleep at all, but you feel fine. You can soldier through the day. But it is sleep studies, and apparently, like people's perception of how much you actually sleep and your kind of awareness of when and when you're not actually sleeping is basically it's as good as chance. It's basically random. Like you really have no idea how much you actually sleep in a given night, unless you're like really like awake, like on coffee or something like that. But like apparently, if you can be wide awake all night in your head, like imagine yourself as being wide awake, but you're actually asleep.
Gas.
There's no way of really telling.
Yeah,
which is comforting to me because I don't sleep very well.
Or do you?
Or do I? That's the thing. I tell myself I'm like, I haven't slept in like 20 hours. Like, I had a great 8 hours sleep, I think, last night. Probably, theoretically, I had 8 hours sleep.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers. Yeah, it's good though. Johnny Depp is killing it as
he looks
your man.
really weird in this film.
He looks so young.
He's so young in this.
Whoa.
In this film.
He's very young, but he's the kind of guy. He's had about 3-4 different looks in his life.
I just always see him as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, but I never recognized him as Jack Sparrow ever. I had no idea that was Johnny Depp. Yeah, but like you look at because the first Pirates of the Caribbean is 2004, 2003.
Sure, yeah.
And then you have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 2005. I was like, who the fuck are these? This same guy.
Yeah.
Same guy. Looks completely different. Like looks nothing alike.
And then in this, who the fuck is this guy?
And it's like, who's this? Who's this guy? And nowadays he doesn't look like. It doesn't look like the guy now. Could be that guy. You know. In a weird way.
I know what you mean.
He just was really rough.
Edward's. Yeah. He has not,
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about, the whole Johnny Depp situation.
He just looks rough.
I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but...
He is involved in a very high-profile trial at the moment.
Where everyone is wrong.
Where nobody's right.
Yeah. It's Christopher Nolan's going to make a fucking film about the Johnny Depp situation.
The whole thing is a film. It's fourth wall.
Yeah.
It's avant-garde. Hunter Thompson's Beyond the Graves. It's performance art.
It's like Freddy Krueger's fingers,
Yeah.
Through the grave. We were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. But yeah, Johnny Depp's so fucking weird in this film. He has the best iconic kill as well.
Yeah.
Dragged through the bed.
Sucked through the bed.
The first girl though, Jesus.
Yeah.
Getting fucking tossed around the place.
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting that. Because that seems like kind of more something in the ballpark of The Exorcist or something like that. Well, just because she's on the roof, but also because it just seemed really more kind of like a haunted house kind of thing. Because he's not there, really. Yeah. He's just she's like floating for a bit, and I was like, who the fuck is that?
It's really violent, but I'm not imagining Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Oh, this thing's Goose. We go though. We go.
We move. We move. We move. Yeah, but I know what you mean. The whole vibe is really like teenage drama. Because like obviously Freddy can't get you when you're awake, so a lot of the time just characters are awake. And even when they're dreaming, like it was the like the what's the word I'm looking for? The like edit into the dreams. Pretty smooth. Pretty smooth.
Yeah. The dream sequences. It's really not what I was expecting. I was expecting way more fantastical dream sequences. It's like more like cartoonish kind of violence.
Yeah.
It's way more. You can tell it's a Craven film though. It feels like a Craven film in the way that something like People Under the Stairs, which came out I think 6 years later.
Even like Hills Have Eyes, which came up with this.
Yeah. There's like it's horror, but like there's something muted about it in a weird way. It's not cartoonish to the extent that you'd imagine, or that's kind of portrayed in the popular imagination.
It's way more grimy.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's just like the first one, and then we see what the sequels are like. Because I do want to see some of the sequels.
Yeah.
Like, and Wes Craven directed the last Friday the 13th, Jesus, Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Final Friday? No, not Final Friday. New Nightmare.
94.
Yeah.
I think it was 10 years after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, because apparently this was his passion project. Was he loads of movies?
It's like one of the things that like saved his career, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or like made his career anyway.
Because he had Last House on the Left, and he had.
Then he killed his career apparently.
Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
But then it got bigger. People were like, "Oh,
it's like a cult thing," but at the start, like no one wanted to touch him.
Yeah. He died multiple times and came back from the dead. Like his career anyway.
Yeah.
But Last House on the Left, and then he had Hills of Eyes, and by I think mid '80s, these were already pretty big. But like in between, it was all kind of up in the air. And he's doing loads of TV movies and stuff like that. I'm kind of working as a hired gun. He did the Swamp Thing in 1982, which is apparently his like one of his weaker efforts.
Oh right.
So,
I haven't heard that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but he built up enough capital base or enough like reputation with the suits and stuff like that. It's like this guy will do what we want. Where they're like, here, we'll let you do something that you want to do.
Yeah. And
it was Nightmare on Elm Street, because this was the idea of going back to something to do blending dreams and reality, because before that he hadn't really dipped into anything like that before. You have Hills of Eyes, you have Last House on the Left, you have
it's got like grimy like horror,
it's just horror, slasher horror films,
like torture ish, exploitation films.
Yeah basically yeah like just what you'd imagine, what I probably imagine going into this. But then this is way
Video
more
nasties.
Yeah. But this is way more dream. It's all about dreams and stuff, and childhood. Childhood's a huge thing, and there's a huge Christian theme as well in the film.
Yes.
A lot of Christianity.
A lot of Jesus is on the walls.
Yeah, and the children paying for the sins of the fathers. Pretty sure there's a quote directly about that.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea is that like Freddy was lynched. It's not canon in this that he's like a
no. He's just a child murderer.
He just murdered children. Yeah.
Didn't do anything else.
So he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy, but like the sin, the original sin of the film is basically about is the parents lynching Freddy,
burning him alive.
Yeah, and, this horrible thing where the sin that they committed, the parents, is now being borne by the next generation. It's a continuation of what like Hooper and like John Carpenter stuff would have been talking about with the whole hippie dream turning into a nightmare, which is literally what this film is about.
Literally.
All those 80s films are very, very similar in that kind of theme. And like the kids pay for it in like the worst possible way, obviously. But that's Christianity. And in that kind of way, it's Freddy isn't like the devil or anything. And like the boiler room isn't hell, because you can read it that way. But it's more like Freddy is like an agent of like purgation, and like the boiler room is purgatory. And the children have to go down there, or like in their dreams go to purgatory to to wash off the sins of what came before, because they've been given this cross to bear. And it's just like, it's not like they're being tortured and he's the devil. It's something entirely different. He's working on God's behalf.
I did not read the film this way at all.
That's what
I can see it though.
Yeah. I just thought it seemed like a really, because it's very Catholic.
It is super Catholic.
But Craven is a evangelical Protestant, so it's a weird kind of tension there, because like this is like the religious approach to the film is way more similar to something like The Exorcist, which is pure Catholic.
Yeah. When did The Exorcist come out? 70s?
73.
Probably reason why.
Yes, probably.
Catholicism, always fighting off the devil,
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like the Old Testament God, where he's God's basically evil. God's also responsible for all the evil as well. Yeah. It's like Freddy is like He's one of God's guys. Like
He's Griffith.
yeah, he's evil, but like he's there to wash off the sins. But yeah, there's some Christian stuff in there as well.
Yeah, I can see it.
Do
Do you think? Okay, having watched, you've never seen Friday the 13th, but the Friday the 13th is the worst. Is the worst fucking first film of these 4.
I've seen that one.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, right. Rank the first 4, like the first
Friday
film,
the 13th.
the first film of the iconic 4.
Okay.
So Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Rank
Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. You know.
You 100%. That's just
it's not even a competition.
Yeah, it's not even.
It's not even a competition. This one's good, but I wouldn't put it up as up with Halloween.
There's a big gap.
There's a big step down.
There's a huge gap between 2 and 3.
And
but like
even bigger gap.
Yeah, and then but 1 and 2, you know, they can shuffle around a bit.
They could shuffle around. I think Texas Chainsaw is in a world of its own. TBH.
Fair enough.
But it could definitely, they're way closer. And then there's a big old step, and then there's just like there's a big hole.
Just a big old pit.
That's where Jason lives.
Yeah, Jason lives way down there.
yeah.
Way down there. Yeah, did you watch anything else horror related?
I did. I had a look at a film called the Amityville Horror.
Oh yes,
which is based on a true story.
Which one did you watch?
The first one. The original one, 1979.
Yeah, I was going to ask because there's a remake of this as well.
Yeah, which I also watched a long time ago. It used to be on Netflix. Has Ryan Reynolds as the main character, as the dad. And shit, it's dog shit. Terrible film.
I've never seen it, but I was like, that just seems like it'd be a bad film.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not that bad, but like,
it's not good.
It's just not good. There was no reason to remake it. Yeah, the original film, 1979, stars. What's his name? He's Josh Brolin's dad. I can't remember his name, but basically he's Josh Brolin's dad. Something Brolin. I don't know how. I don't know how I forgot that, but he was huge back in the day.
Connor Brolin.
Yeah, John Brolin. I don't know, but he's I have to say this now. James Brolin. I was close. And he stars as George Lutz, who is the patriarch of the Lutz family, who have moved into a gaff in Amityville, which is somewhere in Northeast America. And not unbeknownst, he knows full well that there was a family murder there the year before. This is actually based on a true story.
It's the what the fuck are they called? The Waylands? No, not the Waylands.
The family got murdered?
No, the fucking like the Conjuring.
Yeah, the Warrens.
The Warrens.
Yes, this is the case where the Warrens rose to national attention in America. Because I had this thing in 1974. The DeFeo family used to live in this house in Amityville. That's a really spooky house. Like, it looks haunted, you know. It has like
it has a vibe.
Yeah, it has eyes. Like, the windows look like eyes, which is something that the press made a big thing of. So it looks kind of evil. This family called the DeFeos used to live there. And one night in 1974, this guy called Ronald DeFeo lost his marbles and killed everybody. Killed 6 people. And he was like locked away and stuff. I think he's still alive. But the next year, the Lutz family moved in. Like the actual Lutz family. And they were there for a few months, I'm pretty sure. But they were forced out apparently by evil spirits. Yeah, evil spirits. The house is apparently haunted. And there was this like kind of implication that George had become possessed, or that something was trying to take possession of George. There's all these weird happenings that occurred. And there was a book written in 1977 about detailing the whole Amityville hauntings and the horror. And that was huge. It got massive. People loved it. It was very scary, you know. It's kind of like the whole... It's like the most popular modern folklore.
I have never seen it. I've never read anything about the... I don't know what the fuck happened in the Amityville Horror.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
I know you know about it.
Yeah, I know about it. I don't know what happened, but like everyone knows this. This is like literally folklore. This is modern folklore.
Modern horror tales. Modern horror folklore. Yeah, it just caught wind and like people loved it. So they made a film in 1979. And it's an independent film. It was one of the highest grossing independent films of all time. Like, it made I think $85 million, which is the equivalent of about 400 mil these days, which is big. You know, that's Conjuring levels. This was huge. But yeah, it has James Brolin as your man George. And the whole thing is about the family moving in. And things are just kind of off. And it all escalates very, very quickly. I'm not sure if it escalated that quickly in real life, but it basically takes place over the course of about, I think it's 2 weeks or a month. and things just start happening. And the kid Amy starts. She hears voices. She has an imaginary friend called Jody, and there's like things happen where it becomes apparent that Jody is some kind of avatar of the Lord of the Flies, like Beelzebub, you know.
Yeah.
And I have this weird scene where a priest comes in, because Kathy Lutz, the wife, is she was a single mother before, and she was like reliant on the church. There's all these things about the church and the Catholic Church specifically, and religion in the film. But you know the way in most films, like The Exorcist, or like even in real life with the Warrens and The Conjuring and stuff like that, you know, the godly people come in and they expel the spirits, and everything is okay again. They just need kind of like a dash of holy water and like a Hail Mary. But in this film, it's like the priest. There's a priest shows up, and there's a really iconic scene where he shows up in the gaff, and he's like looking at the children playing outside, and like flies just start like swarming into the room. Suddenly the room is full of flies, and they're all over his face.
Yeah, like I know that imagery, but I've never seen it. It's so weird. Yeah,
it's a scary scene.
It's iconic.
Yeah, and there's loads of things where like windows slam shut with nobody there, and like there's loads of like really stupid stuff as well, where like it's clear that like George is getting more and more irritable as time goes on. So he hasn't slept. Every time he shows up, he's like, people are like, "Man, George, you look like shit." And
don't say that to him.
Yeah, he's clearly like just a stressed dad. But they're like, he's been possessed by Beelzebub.
Fucking poor George, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like it's so like. It just seems so mundane, but they write it off as these being like supernatural interventions by demons.
Yeah, it's not extreme, like.
But the demons like drive out. The priest gets expelled from the gaff. He's like, I'm not going back there.
Yeah,
and he has this whole thing. He's trying to convince the church to like exorcise the house, and he's driving away, and like his car like breaks down, and they're like, it's the demons, you know. Like,
yeah, it's not like in The Exorcism where you're like, this bitch is fucking possessed.
yeah. She's clearly possessed.
Yeah, it's not like strange coincidences and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. The priest is literally like, there's flies everywhere. And they're like, all right, what are we supposed to do about that?
Listen, we didn't realize there's a dead rat in the gaff, you know.
Yeah.
It's an old house.
Yeah. And there's one scene where like $1,500 goes missing, and they're like, it was a demon. There's all this like stupid stuff like that. It just kind of escalates to the point where George has to confront this demon. And it's like a pig kind of thing. It's really creepy.
Did you see it?
Yeah, well, you see it very, very briefly. It's all based on like, it's pretty true to the actual story as the Lutz tells it.
Okay.
But it's you know, commonly accepted these days as a complete hoax. But they did tell it as basically the film tells it. But there's a scene where the man walks in, and you see like the little girl's like, oh, you made Jody run away. And she's like, oh, where'd she go? She's, oh, she ran out the window. And the man was like, oh, well, I'll try to get her back. She walks over to the window, and she's just like two like glowing red eyes like staring back at her. It's pretty freaky. And just the way it's edited, it's pretty freaky. The score is actually really cool as well. It's done by a guy called, I'll look him up now. His name is Lalo Schifrin. He did the original score for The Exorcist. Remember we talked about how the Exorcist score was discarded because it was too like kind of on the nose, and they went with the kind of like more minimalist thing. He did the big maximalist Exorcist score.
Yes.
And apparently this was he took a lot from that project and reused it on this film, Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty well made, pretty well put together.
It sounds like it would be. It sounds like it's like very within its budget as well.
Oh yeah, it's just a haunted house.
It's not, you know, like extreme.
Yeah, there's nothing too extreme. There's no crazy effects or anything.
It's not like The Conjuring in that sense.
Yeah, and there's basically there's this thing where George has to get up at like 3:15 a.m. every night, and he's like called to the boathouse because it's this huge gaff. But things get they get out of hand, and basically the family have to flee. There's no big confrontation with the demons or anything like that. Like
really?
Yeah, like the priests are expelled. The nun is expelled from the gaff. The house is just fucked and cursed. And the family had to flee because George goes crazy. Because there's this whole thing where there's a series of coincidences where...
that's very unlike haunted house films.
Yeah, that's kind of what makes it kind of charming. Because I watched it a long time ago with the new one as well. And I really liked this one. But I found out that it was really poorly received. Like people still don't think it's a good film.
Oh,
but
really?
I think it's good. I think it's a really good 80s or 70s horror film.
something about 70s horror. We always say this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
something about it.
It's really spooky.
Mm.
It's a really spooky film. Yeah, they just have to leave the gaff. Like the gaff is just too haunted, and they're like, we have to get out of here.
That's so unlike.
I feel like if it was fictional, they'd have like a big end scene. But the whole point, they seem to be trying to stick to the true story thing.
Yeah, they're trying to. It's not like any other story that's based on the Warrens, where there's like. They're basically like, you shall not pass. The fucking demons. And
I
stuff
expel
like that.
you,
Sheba.
Or whatever. Yeah. There's nothing like that in the film.
There's no one levitating and people fucking cursing it. Like, you know what I mean?
No. Yeah. There's none of that stuff. It's just it's all implied, and it's clearly something wrong. Something very wrong. And there's a coincidence where George looks like Ronald DeFeo, the guy who killed all the people.
Is this a cursed film as well? Isn't it?
No, they tried to make that up. There was like a thing with
it's not like Poltergeist and stuff like that.
No, yeah. I was gonna watch. We should watch that next week.
Yeah. When you were talking about this, it was like Poltergeist. I've never seen that film.
That's Tobe Hooper, isn't it? Tobe Hooper.
It is.
I think it is. Yeah.
It is.
We have to watch that.
Yeah, you're right. Because
that's really well regarded.
Yeah, that's like
we somehow never seen it.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I don't really hear people talking about it either.
Because it got remade, probably.
And the remake is bad. The remakes are like one of the worst remakes, apparently.
Yeah. But
they're here. All that type of shit.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah. Do you not know that?
I don't know anything about it.
Do you not know that they're here and stuff like that?
No.
Hands on the TV and stuff like that.
I know the hands on the TV, yeah.
And she's like, all the ghosts are here, you know?
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm just thinking of Poltergeist and thinking of the Amityville Horror, to be honest. Very likely.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, there's like a backstory. They try to explain it as like it was an ancient Indian burial ground.
Isn't it fucking always?
Yeah. But apparently that's also happened in real life. I don't know. It's a lot of rubbish. But the film ends with like this title card, and it just says, the Lutzes fled Amityville and never returned to claim their house or their belongings. They now live in another state. Which is true. They left and they never came back. But the idea, like, the other side of that story is they also got a huge insurance payout. There was something about it. It was basically insurance fraud, apparently. Like that was like the kind of backstory to it. But no, it's a good film. It's a really good 80s or 70s.
Who owns it now? Can we stay in it?
Can we what?
Are you allowed to stay in the Amityville Horror House? Or is it just a tourist attraction?
I think it is still standing. I don't know who owns it. I think it is privately owned. But I'm not sure who. Actually, I think people live there, actually. I think people do actually live there.
Man, I guarantee it's a tourist attraction.
I don't know. I think they make money off it, but I think people do live there. Back when I was reading about it when I was like 12 years old, they did anyway. But
Lord knows.
Yeah, God knows what's happening now. But it's a good old flick, I'll tell you that.
I'll have to give it a you.
It's not on anything though.
Yeah, it's like, you know, there's loads of classic horror films I haven't seen. A lot of classic horror films.
We should watch Poltergeist next week.
We should. Or about next week, Ganja. Ganja and Hess is also, you know, folk horror-ish. I feel like we can blend that somehow.
Yeah, absolutely we can, yeah.
I completely forgot I recommended that film until like when I was uploading the episode yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck did I recommend? Oh yeah, Ganja and Hess.
But yeah, what were you watching other than Nightmare?
I had a wee look at some BBC Play for the day.
I'm always on board with that.
You know, Penn is Ven, you know, a classic, a canon of this podcast, I feel.
Canonical, yeah.
And Robin Redbreast is a film that I watched during the week. It's 70 minutes.
It's like an hour, yeah.
It's like an hour, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I watch this on? I cannot remember what I watched this on. I watched it on something though. I watched it on something legal. I paid for this fucking film. I'm fairly certain. I can't remember what I watched it on
really?
though. But yeah, it is a classic English folk horror film. I guess it's not very well known. I don't feel like a lot of people know this film.
No, it's very kind of forgotten. It wasn't really. It was like aired only a few times.
It was wherever I watched this. It is accessible.
Oh, it's currently accessible now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't very. I think it was only aired like a handful of times, and it was kind of forgotten.
It's fucking weird.
It's a weird one, yeah.
It's a weird, uncomfortable movie.
It's definitely a weird one, yeah.
Yeah. It's about a woman who is recently divorced or separated from her husband, moves out to her like country house that normally she only stays in every so often, but she's like, I'm gonna stay here way more often because I need to learn to be by myself. And weird stuff starts to happen. And all the neighbors and her like house maid kind of person, and the guy that she meets. Everything's real fucking weird, and it's kind of Twin Peaks-ish.
Yeah. Something off.
Just in terms of, there is something weird going on here. And that escalates. And it escalates, and it keeps going. And it's like, oh god, this is way worse than I thought it was.
Yeah, it gets out of hand. Yeah, it's kind of weird because because this was a real departure from what the whole series was about. In terms of like, it was just a kitchen sink realism. But
it also is that.
Yeah, it is that. But then it just throws in things that you're not expecting, and just in like a more, I don't know, it's like cosmological kind of way, where it's just it's stuff that is always there and always will be there, and it's like in plain sight, and it's like
there's nothing fantastical going on.
Yeah, there's nothing crazy going on, but at the same time,
it's just like a weird community.
Yeah, a weird community that like exists. You know, it's baked into the architecture of everything, of like of the land.
Yeah,
you know, it's always there. It's always watching. There. You know, we're just
the old
guests.
Ones. You know.
Yeah, the old ways. That's a big thing. Yeah,
it's fucking weird. And so we're just gonna talk about this thing in full. I feel like, because like no one's gonna watch this.
Nah, yeah.
And if they do, you know what? Take this as a recommendation. But she ends up sleeping with this guy, Jack, whatever the fuck his name is, and that's all like orchestrated by the community. It's so fucking weird. It's so uncomfortable. I feel like, you know, film from the when's this film from, like the 70s or 60s?
1970.
1970. It's a 70s film. You know, we look at the way that the woman's body is being controlled for reproductive purposes. You know, stuff like that. You know, there's stuff there you can read into. Because it is like all those films kind of had a message and something to read from, on top of just being like a banging horror film or like a really good drama. You know, because this is good horror. It's kind of like Midsummer, I feel. Yeah.
It's like a really it's like a really basic precursor to what Midsummer would do. But still it tackles all the exact same themes. And just the idea of like, even if you're not seeing it as like a maybe commentary on like Nora's like you know, reproductive
bodily autonomy.
Yeah, bodily autonomy. That's what I was looking for. Like it's just like the idea of like it kind of contextualizes or historicizes that whole idea of reproduction. The idea that like you know, back then it's way more clean cut, and like the nuclear family is like you have husband, wife, and you have like 2.5 kids or whatever. Yeah. Whereas like this film or this Robin Redbreast, it's like this completely different thing where it's a community which is basically orchestrating reproduction and like life itself. You know, literally from conception to cradle to death, everything is sort of like under the scope of like people like Fisher, the weird guy with the glasses, just like random people in the town, the village, the land. They're just kind of they're there, and they're always watching. Even if they aren't watching, there's a sense that they know what's going on. Yeah, and everything is knowledge. Everything is known.
That guy Fisher, fuck me, man. Yeah. Something about that guy. It's like immediately when you see him, like, there's something off with this cunt, like straight away.
Yeah. It's like, why are you in my gap?
There's like nothing, like everything's pretty normal until that cunt shows up. It's like that fella that rocks with the afters and like, oh fucking hell,
Fisher's here.
Not this fella,
we
Jesus.
Have to head with his goggles, talking about birds and all.
Birds, the land. Doesn't have a car. He cycles everywhere. Mad pretentious.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fucking weird. And then even when you meet the guy, like, I'm just gonna call him Jack because I just feel like that might be his name. The like young fella that she, you know, fucks.
Jack, yeah.
That whole thing, like,
he's doing karate in the woods.
It's just like, what the fuck is this?
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah,
or why he's doing that.
It's just weird. I think it's just weird.
He's just a weird guy.
He's just a weird guy.
He's a really awkward guy.
And it's like, and then when he rocks up to the gaff and he just talks about World War II for hours on end, like. This fucking incel.
He's just really awkward. Like,
he's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then things take a turn for the worst.
Yeah. They ritually sacrifice Jack. He's the Robin, basically. He's the titular Robin Redbreast. The whole idea is like it's like a round robin kind of system where like his own birth was orchestrated in the same way, and he's like the kind of sacrificial lamb for the community. He is their human sacrifice, which they have to make every cycle,
which
every
is why
generation.
it's so fucking weird.
Yeah. So he's been. That's why this whole relationship with him and Nora, between Jack and Nora, has been orchestrated, so that she becomes pregnant, so that she carries the baby to term, and that the baby that she bears is the new Robin Redbreast.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, the father, he has to be sacrificed. He's gone, and he knows he's going to be sacrificed. And he knows it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucked. That's just the way the things work.
Well, he's not 100% sure.
Yeah. There's just something weird about it.
Yeah.
But and then she has to deal with the horror of like this child. Like she has to bear the new Robin for these fucking weird people who live out in the middle of nowhere.
It's like you can keep it, or you can just give it to us. And it's like, oh, what did she do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like kind of a cliffhanger kind of thing.
Oh, it's so fucking weird.
In terms of what happens next.
It's such an uncomfortable film.
Yeah. Do they find her? They should have had a sequel,
Robin Redbreast 2. Electric
Boogaloo.
Oh, fucking hell. It's a good film, though. It's a decent one. Decent joke.
Yeah. No, it's a classic. Absolute classic. All those films, stop.
Yeah, the BBC Play for the Days, I always try to dip my toe into them every so often.
Yeah.
Because
it's all gone now.
They're just a well of
every week.
weirdness. Like, if
every
you just
week
think,
they had that.
this film, Pendleton, Threads, that's just 3 bangers there. That's let alone all the Ken Loach ones that came out of this and stuff like that,
Yeah. That's just like, just on TV, like, just on telly. Oh, it's on today. Play for today. Sit down, have a cup of tea. Oh, they're playing Penda's Fan or whatever. What the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
It's like,
what is this?
It's just public television done right. Classic.
Very good.
So good.
Very, very good. So creative. So unique.
Aye.
Yeah, I like when you have, a director and stuff like that that's able to, with enough freedom anyway, make their own vision. You know what I mean? Something good nearly always comes from that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nearly always.
Yeah.
The Empty Man, though.
Oh.
It's not entirely like that. I watched The Empty Man this week. This is a 2020 film? I think it's 2020. 2020 film that was one of the last, films to come out. I think it came out just after Disney bought Fox. It was a film that Fox pumped a lot of money into. There's a budget to this film. There's a shocking budget to this film.
Like high budget?
Like really high budget.
Oh.
To a film that is this fucking weird. And this director, this director's vision. It's his first film. And then it was, Fox, it seemed like they were going to believe in it. Disney buy Fox. Disney don't like this film. Disney send this film out to die. And now it's just on Disney Plus. It's a quote unquote cult film. I'm not sure. It's only 2 years old, so it's a bit early for that.
Yeah, that's a bit early. I saw that description. I was like, it's hardly a cult film.
Yeah,
it was released 18 months ago.
It's not that old.
Yeah.
So give it. I feel like Veronica is more of a cult film than
Veronica.
this. Just because
that's a blast from the past. That was great.
because Veronica is so fucking weird in a whole different level.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch that again.
I kind of feel like I want to watch bits of that film again. That's a piece of shit film.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But there's something about it.
There's something weird about it.
There's something.
Yes, there's a few. There's really bad segments. And there's really good ones. I want to watch the good ones.
Yeah, I want to watch the first one and the second one. At a push. Second one's pretty boring as well.
I can't remember.
We should have a watch party.
Yeah, that's the one you could have a watch party for that.
You could drink every time something happens. I'm sure there's a list for that. But Empty Man is way more serious than Veronica. And weird in a different sense. Veronica is weirdly bad, and then The Empty Man is weird in. It's it wears its influences on its sleeve. It's really obvious what films have influenced The Empty Man. You're watching it and you're just like, that's that monster, skeleton thing, that's Geiger, 100%. That thing looks like it could have been an Alien or something like that, right? This plot, man, this feels like The Ring or The Bye Bye Man, and it feels like The
Bye Bye Man,
the Slender Man.
Slender Man, yeah.
It feels like creepypasta. It's an urban.
What's it about?
It's an urban folktale, right?
Okay.
So The Empty Man is if you're standing on a bridge and you have a bottle and you blow on the bottle and you think about the empty man. The first night you hear him. The second night, you see him. The third night, he comes for you.
Alright.
And the film is like every generic, I'm an investigator and I'm, investigate. It's like Scream, or not like Scream. It's like The Ring, where, he does the fucking empty man, call thing, and he's investigating the call, or he's investigating the empty man and learning about the mythology behind the empty man. He's investigating a cult, all the while he has 3 days to solve this because the empty man is coming for him on the third day.
What's the empty man?
He's just a guy, isn't he?
He's just a guy.
He's like this hooded guy. This is the thing, right? This film is. There's a lot going on in this film.
I kind of want to watch this.
I recommend everyone watch this film. You might not like this film.
Everyone watch this
everyone should watch this film. Everyone, because I swear to God, everyone should see this film.
If everyone could watch one film, it's like world
this
peace.
One,
So
I just feel like
watch The Empty Man.
Everyone needs to have an opinion on this film because you could hate this film. Half of me kind of did, but then the other half of me was like, there's just something about this film.
Yeah.
There's really good horror in this film. There's a few sequences where you're literally told on the first night you will hear him. Second night you're gonna see him. That happens 3 times in the film, and each time it is scary. Hearing the empty man just come at it's literally like someone sleeping in the gaff, and you hear someone walking down the hall really loudly.
Yeah.
That happens 3 times in the film. Each time, he's not going to come for them because, the first time you don't know that, but the second and third time, you do know that.
Yeah.
You know that he's not going to hurt them.
Uh-huh.
But there's something about the sound design. The second one is these kids on the bridge and they do the fucking call and they do it at night, and you can just hear someone walking off in the distance. It's a bridge, it's dark halfway through, and you can just hear someone walking that way. And the group of kids are shouting, saying "Oh, fuck off, dude," and they pick up a bottle and they start blowing down the bottle as well, and then you just hear footsteps just charging at them, and it's just freaky. Each time it is freaky.
It sounds freaky, yeah.
So that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
Underneath that, you have cult horror going on in the film because the investigator guy, whatever the fuck his name is, Joe Whiteman, goes in. And he goes into a cult and he's investigating the cult, and the cult are worshipping the empty man, and it's about tulpas, and it's about
tulpas, what's that?
It's I am not entirely sure what a tulpa is. Tulpas are fucking weird though, and a lot of people believe in them. I'm not entirely sure.
It's a mythological creature.
It's not. No. It's imagining someone into reality or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something like that. Not entirely sure.
I've tried that so many times.
People should look up tulpas because I literally do not know a thing about tulpas. It's something I should know about.
Tulpas? I've never heard of that. Imagining someone into reality.
It's something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Or it's something like astral planes of that. What is it?
Theosophy. Yeah. And the paranormal of an object or being that's created through spiritual or mental powers.
Oh, I was nearly there.
You were bang on.
I was, basically, I was there. It's imagining something into reality. But beings and spirits and shit like that.
Oh, there's a Reddit for it.
Yeah, it's an internet thing apparently. But a lot of people believe in it.
Yeah.
It's just
Reddit
magic.
Is the best place for it,
Yeah. And this is about a guy being a transceiver. What is that the fuck? He's a receiver and transmitter.
Yeah.
So he's just bouncing off this into the subconscious, the collective consciousness. He's beaming out this being. This is the empty man. This is the nothing of us all.
Yeah.
The thing that's deep within us all.
Oh, so they're trying to make him... Are they trying to project thoughts into other people's heads? And or is it just the power of their own collective thoughts that's creating some kind of physical manifestation?
Something like that.
Okay.
It's one or the other. I'm not entirely sure. Because that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure what goes on at the end of this film. This film, expands out extremely wide. And then in a similar sense to True Detective, just kind of collapses under the weight of its own fucking magnitude for how wide out this thing goes. And it ends on a note where I'm just like, oh, that was mad generic. Like, after going like so fucking wild with it, this film takes you on a journey. The investigation aspect of this film is class. There is lethal set pieces. There's a bit where, and like this is like a bit that everyone fucking talks about in this film, but it's so fucking good. He's like in this, like he's in the cult camp, and he's like watching all these fucked up videos of people being possessed by the empty man and shit like that. And he starts walking out. And you remember the bit in Kill List, and it reminded me of Kill List a lot, where they're like walking in a forest or whatever, and they see like a concession, just like fucking cult. They see cult people walking off in the distance. Yeah. They're burning shit, whatever, and they do this like fire ritual type of shit, whatever.
Yeah.
And he sits there and he watches it, and then all the lights cut off.
Yeah.
And you hear them walking towards him. And then they stop, and it's like, oh, this is, and like it is silent, and it like holds into the darkness for fucking ages, and then he's looking at them, and then they all just turn and look at him, and then he takes one step back, they take a step forward, he takes a step back, they take a step forward, and then he literally goes like, oh nah, and he just fucking legs it. He literally says, oh fuck this, and like there's like just like really good horror. There's a bit at the start of this film. This film opens up with like a 20-minute prologue. It goes on for 20 minutes. You're like, okay, this is the film, and then it just goes like the empty man, and then just like, oh, here's your main character. 20 minutes into the film, he's like, all right.
What's the prologue?
It's these people just being possessed by the empty man.
Oh, okay.
And being haunted by him. And it's like, that's where you see like this weird skeleton monster thing. It is freaky as fuck, because like you see it first, you're like, oh, it's just a human skeleton, and then he walks up to it, and the thing has like 8 arms, and it's like way bigger than a human.
Yeah.
It's good.
Something off about it. Yeah,
it's good. But it's also shit. Because there's bits of this film that are fucking awful. The first time that we meet the main character, right, he sits down with someone, and she's like, oh yeah, it was really sad when my dad died a year ago. You've been really good to my mom. Sucks about like Jamie and fucking Maria, whatever the fuck it is. And you're just like, okay, right, so his kids or his family are dead, and this girl's mom is a widow. And then we meet the mom, and the daughter fucks off, whatever, and she's like, the empty man possessed, whatever. And there's bits like that where it is so generic, it's just bad. It's like it's just bad. And there is something about the film where like it's really weird, because when you're watching it, you're like, this is influenced by this is influenced by this. So it's like, it is like kind of generic, but because it like collects all these things and puts them together in a really interesting package, it's kind of worth seeing.
Yeah, I suppose.
It ends on. I feel like it ends on a dud, though. It ends on a shitter. It does not work.
It ends on a shitter. What happens?
I'm not gonna spoil it.
Okay.
But like, it's just like,
it's just not. It's just generic, is it?
It's just mad generic. Like, there's a reveal in this film, and you're just like, are you for real?
The empty man was inside us all along.
Yeah, it's like you're not a million miles off.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a million miles off.
The empty man is the emptiness we feel inside.
It's just bad. It's got to do with the cult.
Okay.
It's like, oh.
I feel like I really want to watch it, but it's also 2.5 hours long.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
And you feel it. You feel it. It does. It meanders in the middle. The first hour is class. The first hour is unreal.
Yeah.
And it hooks you. And thank God it hooks deep, because like if it didn't hook that deep, you would have knocked it off.
You'd be swimming off.
There's like a half hour, 45-minute portion of the film where it's like, oh. But then it picks up again.
Yeah.
So
it does sound interesting. There's interesting ideas wrapped up in the, because I had production problems.
Yeah, well, I got release problems, and it got a different cut. People hated that.
Yeah, different cut. Yeah.
So they released. This is the full version of the film.
Yeah, but like, if all going well, he would have released something different. Surely, is that
no?
Like the
this
idea?
is the film.
One he really wanted to release.
This is the film that he wanted to make. Yeah, this is as far as I'm aware. This is the complete version of the film.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. There could be changes to the film, but regardless, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like this film would have been a massive hit even if it came out in normal circumstances, because it is decent, but it isn't amazing. It's just like, it's really weird that they put this much money into a film like this.
Yeah.
It's an oddity. It's a
Mm.
rare occurrence that happens. And in that aspect, it's really interesting. But as a film, it ends up not being as interesting.
Yeah.
But it's still good. Like, there's some, like, fucking mad transitions in the film. There's mad transitions. It's weird, like, someone throws down a map, and, like, the camera tracks onto the map, and then just transitions onto the road. But you can still see, like, the layout of the map, and, like, the names of the towns and stuff like that. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's
That
like,
sounds kind of weird.
it's like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Sure, it's would have done better than Slender Man or Bible
Oh,
Man,
Jesus,
sure,
this is
yeah.
miles better than those films.
No, but I mean, like, if it was released all going well.
I don't know, because if Fox really believed in this film, they advertised it. Same way that we're talking about, that we will talk about later on with Avatar 2. If they put enough money into this, into the advertisement, it
You
would have
can
made
make-
money.
You can make anything, yeah,
Mm.
big, yeah.
You know?
It's a shame. It's a
Yeah,
shame,
the
perhaps.
pandemic and Disney killed this film. But, you know, it is decent. It's a decent joke.
It's decent.
It's decent.
It's decent.
Like, I was like,
How many stars would you give it?
I ended up giving it 3, but I was leaning on a 4.
You were leaning toward a 4.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah. A 4, that would have been serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, based on what you said, a 4 would have been too generous.
But, like, the interesting aspects of the film, and, like, the backstory of the film, and, like, when you...
Mm.
There's something about this film, for the first hour that's really good. Like, the investigation is really cool. The mystery. But then
Yeah.
it doesn't really go anywhere.
It just kind of leaves you feeling empty inside.
Yes, it does. It does. Hopefully we can be more filled after the break.
Let's do it. And we're back from the break. We're going to be talking about a little film called
Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life. Terrence Malick 2011 film. We both had a look at it this week.
Tis a biggie.
It's a big one. It is cosmic in scope. It is an all-timer.
It's a modern day 2001 Odyssey if you really think about it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like it has space and,
Religion.
religion and stuff.
Origins of humanity and stuff, you know.
It's about the meaning of life.
It's a mad film, bro, film, innit?
Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, it is, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I was blown away. I thought it was really good.
I thought
it was way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, same. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. Because I was knocking this on because I was like, I think I want to watch this. I don't know why. It just sprung on me. I was like, I want to watch The Tree of Life.
Where did you watch it?
Oh, it's on Rakuten.
Ah.
On the big TV.
Ooh, yeah, that's the best way to watch it.
That is the way to watch
I
it.
watched it on my phone.
Terrence Malick would be ashamed.
Yeah.
He's amazed that you even like the fucking film.
Yeah.
You're just living proof that Scorsese's wrong. Or was it Lynch that said that?
They're both wrong.
Or was it Fincher? I think it would have been Fincher.
They're both. All three of them are wrong.
People watching films on their phone.
Yeah.
Not the way the Lord intended.
Exactly.
But there you go.
What would Terrence say?
Well, Terrence is like, you watch it your own way, Mark.
He'd be like, you are one of God's children. You can watch it whatever way you want.
And I am Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a mad religious film, isn't it?
Mad Christian film. It was sold to me as being way more abstract and confusing than it is.
100%.
You
I
know?
100% agree.
Mm.
I was thinking that this film was going to be like nearly incomprehensible.
Mm.
It's not at all.
It's actually very straightforward.
It's fairly straightforward. Like
yeah.
it's just mad spiritual.
Yeah, it just kind of it cuts at random at points so that you're like, what's going on now? Because it has all the space stuff, and it has like the origins of the universe, but it's just establishing a cosmic scope.
Yeah.
Like the idea that the film is about something universal, and it's not just about the story, because it has all those cosmic things like starbursts and stuff like that, the origins of the universe and the origins of life on Earth and things like that, and then it goes into like a very, I don't know, it's like a picturesque mid 20th century American family life. And that's what the story's about. Very clearly, that's what the story's about.
Picturesque, but you know, underneath the surface, it's rotten.
It's rotten, yeah.
Brad Pitt looks like the guy from Falling Down in this film.
He does, yeah.
Like,
they all did back then.
They all did back then, but like Jesus, he is the fucking spitting image of him.
Yeah, he plays it off really well.
He's a 50s dad.
50s dad, does what he wants, slaps
Does
his
what he
kids
wants.
around.
Beats the wife, you know. He's a fucking...
Yeah,
he's
bosses
a-
the wife around.
He's a real American hero.
He's the father figure. I read that he was supposed to stand in for God.
Or nature.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
nature. Yeah,
Nature.
sorry, yeah.
Because it's about nature and
Mm.
it's about faith.
Mm.
And faith is the mam.
Yeah.
And nature is harsh and cruel.
Mm-hmm. It's harsh and cruel, but it's there. And the whole thing is the Book of Job. It's a retelling of the Book of Job.
What
Or
is the Book of Job? Having a fucking breeze.
it's the book in the Bible where it's about Job. There's a guy called Job, and he has a son, and he's going through all this like real shitty times, and he's like, why have you forsaken me thus?
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to God, like, and God's like, what are you complaining about? Like, you were never, like, this is just the way it is, you know. Like, you have to have faith. You have to have faith through hardship.
Mm.
You know, you have to find meaning in the suffering. Suffering is just part of life. That's the way it's always going to happen. It's
Mhm.
always there. It's built. That's like the message of the first part of the film. It's like conflict and explosions and things are constantly changing, and that's what suffering is. It's just things changing, and you having to adapt to it.
Tis the way of nature.
It's just the way of nature. It's just the way of life. And I think Job's the guy who he has to sacrifice his son.
Is it him?
I think that's him.
Is it him?
I don't know, but he has to make a big
Is that
sacrifice.
Abraham?
It could be. I think there's a lot of sacrificing sons in the Bible, but there's a lot of violent things. But basically, he has to go through a lot of real bad times, and God is like,
What was the
just get through it.
Just to cut you off there. What was the Christian brother that worked in school?
Brother Walsh.
Brother Walsh. I remember told my mom, "There's no if you want your son to read a book about if your son wants to read about blood and guts, there's no better story than the Bible."
Oh god.
Man knew how to sell. Man knew how to sell.
Yeah.
Didn't work, mind you, but man knew how to sell.
Yeah. Ever read the Bible?
No.
Or bits of it?
No.
Remember they gave us those Gideon Bibles in school?
Yeah, I never read it.
The pages were so nice. They felt
It was
lovely though.
Man, if I had like, not even. I was gonna say if I had a proper like nice copy of the Bible, I'd read it. Wouldn't even.
I feel like I'd read bits of it.
Yeah, maybe bits of it.
It's hard to find though.
Surely it's a good story.
I'm
you know?
sure it is, yeah.
Pretty influential.
We know most of the stories anyway. We all know the stories.
We all know the stories.
You know. But there's bits that keep hidden from you.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, there is, I guess, yeah.
Right on.
But Tree of Life.
Tree of Life, yeah, it's a retelling of the Book of Job. So it's about suffering. And Terrence Malick's whole thing is it's a positive nihilism, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not really sure what that means, but like, as in, he finds meaning through the suffering. The suffering is the point. Or it's not the point, but the point is pushing through the suffering and finding meaning, finding beauty in all the terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Because terrible things are always going to happen. And in the movie, it follows the kid,
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt's son, who was played by Sean Penn later in life, and he's kind of in the film.
He's just kind of there.
I think that's what confused a lot of people. I think if they didn't have that in there, it wouldn't be as confusing.
Yeah, because like, what the fuck is this got to do with anything?
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck is this?
I feel like there's a longer cut of this film.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there's a longer cut of this
I
film.
wouldn't want to watch a longer cut.
It's already pretty long.
Yeah.
And like, it feels long, but like, you know, it's the cosmic scale of things, you know?
Yeah, it's earned the right to be long.
And it's mad. It's like kind of Tarkovsky-esque. I'm gonna be mad pretentious here now. And and like how it's slow. It makes you think. It's meditative. You know. It's transcendental filmmaking, and it just gets you in that mindset. It just gives you time to like reflect on like what's going on. And in that sense, like, because it gives you so much time to think about what this film is talking about, it's not confusing. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Like, it gives you a lot.
Not at all. Apparently, people poured out of the cinema at the premiere. Like, people got up and left. It's like, what? Why?
Why?
You know, I don't understand that. I don't know why you do that.
I like this film.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was class. I thought it was really good.
I actually think it's one of Malick's best. Like, I prefer this to Days of Heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're very, very different. I think but I really like Days of Heaven. But it has a lot of the same stylistic features, like the dreamy voiceover, which doesn't seem to belong to anybody. You know,
slow, meandering.
Yeah, it's just kind of meandering around. Has that wide angle lens constantly. It's kind of like swinging around. A lot of focus on the landscape and like
some fucking awful CGI.
Yeah, the dinosaur.
Jesus, they look like
Yeah,
shit.
There's dinosaurs in this film. There's no need to have that. Absolutely no need.
No, because it's like, it's the first. Is a dinosaur sparing another life?
Yeah, I
No.
think there's no need for that, to be honest. I think anyway.
It's in the meaning, bro.
There's no need, man.
It's in the
But
meaning.
I think it has something to do with, there's like a quote from the Bible, which has,
It's about camaraderie ship.
yeah,
No.
maybe.
Sparing the first good Samaritan.
Yeah, the first
know?
first good deed,
The first good deed.
perhaps.
You know.
First sentence. It's like, why should I do
Our
this?
own, like overcoming nature. Nature's telling me that I should just kill this and eat it,
Yeah.
but I will spare this life.
Yeah, consciousness bending back in on itself,
Mhm.
and we got to this point. Or have
Here we are, boys.
Podcast.
This is peak.
this is the pinnacle of evolution. This is the end of the tree of life.
This podcast specifically.
Yes.
This is the tree, like the first like budding seed of the next tree of life.
Oh yeah, we have fallen from the tree. We were just like we've fallen off it. We're starting our own tree.
It's like Paradise Lost.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
It's exactly.
It's exactly like that.
What is wrong with us?
But apparently the dinosaur scenes are based on quotes from the Bible, because the film is prefaced by a quote from God to Job, talking about it. I think it's directed at Job, being like, "You weren't there, bro." Basically, when I started all this, like you weren't cheering when the stars first started speaking, first started singing, stuff like that. Basically, you wouldn't get it,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it.
Just have to trust, trust, keep the faith. But there's something about like a Leviathan as well, in one of the passages. I think someone connected that. I was reading. Someone connected that to the part where like the fucking dinosaur gets beached on the beach. I think that's the first land mammal or something like that. It's all about great leaps forward in evolution, stuff like that.
Yeah, geez, because it skips off a couple of years, doesn't it?
Yeah, it lets a lot out actually.
There's a few pieces missing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you also have like its ideas of like the American dream and stuff like that. Like, cause the dad wanted to be a musician, wasn't it? And he just never took that jump, that leap of faith.
Yeah.
He thought logically and was like, I could risk it and like go nowhere, or I could stick with this job and I'll work my way up through the American dream. I'll start at the bottom and I'll make my way up. Only thing is, man never made it up.
Yeah, he just
and he is frustrated.
He's flatlined. Yeah,
and he blames his family and he takes it out on his family, and he's trying to like toughen his kids up to like take on the world in the most harsh, brutal manner.
Yeah. Because like there's like a sociological context there, which isn't really touched on in the film, but it's still there. Like, it's not like he ignores it. Like they have a nice gaff, they have a nice family, they have a nice life.
Yeah.
But there's always gonna be stuff wrong.
It's middle class.
Yeah, there's always gonna be stuff going wrong. There's always gonna be suffering and stuff, and obviously Brad Pitt has dealt with a lot of suffering in his life. The character anyway. Mr. O'Brien, I think they're Irish.
Yes.
Irish Americans.
Catholics,
yes. Yeah. But yeah. But it's all about context at the end of the day, because they had these long passages where he's talking to his son, just about life and stuff like that, and how they're similar and how they're not, and like making
apologizes.
Yeah, making peace after conflict. It's just about that, like those little moments in between, like the space between the characters, where they can come to a not even like it's not like an agreement. It's just like a recognition of each other, a recognition of what really matters. Things beyond little petty fights or whatever, or maybe things bad things that people did. So, but it really touched me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I found it really
moving,
compelling. Yeah, really emotionally compelling.
I feel like it's such a mood and a vibe piece.
Yeah.
That if you get on board with it is very like moving.
Yeah. I found it really, really deeply moving.
And it is like it's a very emotional movie.
Yeah, because it's easy to relate to as well. Because it's like it's a universal story.
Yeah,
it's a universal thing. The meanings are universal.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, why is there a dinosaur in this scene?
Yeah. What the fuck is the ending about?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, what the fuck is the ending about?
Yeah.
Everyone, he's in like heaven. He's like not in heaven. He's like come to terms with what's happened.
Yeah.
Something.
I think that's just like it's like a
It's
superposition.
about grief as well. This film.
Yeah. There's grief because the main plot point is that the son, the eldest son, I think, dies in war.
No, the middle son.
The middle son, yeah, he dies in war, and it's the
19.
Yeah, he's 19 years old, and it's the parents coming to terms with that, and just trying to like grapple with the idea of why someone young would die, would have to die.
Why would? What was it? It's like he's in God's hands now, but it's like as she says, he always was.
Yeah.
You know,
like why God do that? You know?
Why did he do that?
That's the question they're asking, and it still haunts the the other son, Sean Penn's character, Jack.
Faith shattering.
Yeah, like 40 years later, he's sitting in his office, bougie as fuck, living the life, and he's like
depressed.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, my brother died like 40 years ago. It's all fucked up.
What is the meaning of all this?
I thought the ending was really nice though.
Yeah, same. It's uplifting.
I thought it was
it
really
ends
cool.
up. It's about people. It's about moving on. It's about things ending and we move on.
Yeah. But at the same time, they're always there. They're always in the same place.
Yeah.
And everyone is always at the same place at the same time because
Yeah.
the memories are still there.
You are small parts of a big moving piece, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is just. It gave me chills.
You know?
I have to be honest. I thought
It
it was really
works.
nice.
And even like
I thought it was really nice.
the tree of life, different branches, you know, what's the other person's story, you know? The person beside you.
Yeah.
What's their story?
Yeah.
What's your story, Mark?
That's my story. Oh God.
Tell me.
Yeah. Oh, it's really deep though.
It's good.
But it's like it's not even like in a prescriptive kind of instructional way. It's like, oh, like look at being like really, because pretentious is a word I don't know. Maybe pretentious is a word I'd use for the film, but like it feels like it's just kind of evoking things. There's so much focus on imagery. There's barely any dialogue really.
It's all imagery, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a huge
And
focus on.
The music is fantastic.
Yeah, like it's a film that you can like feel.
Yes.
It's a feely film.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's not about sitting down thinking about it, writing about it, or picking it apart. You know, it's a film that you can feel, and that way it's just like it works.
See, like even like from what you're saying, I feel like that is what 2001 is to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, 2001's way more mechanical though. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Way more mechanical.
And I can't relate to it because of that reason.
Yeah,
but this film,
I was looking for a comparison.
Yeah,
that's a good comparison. Yeah,
but this film is so human and so like spiritual that like I can just vibe with that more. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. This would be. Yeah, it's like the new 2001. This is like a good counterpart because it's so. It's like the opposite because like 2001 is like this worship of, technological advancement and stuff like that, and there's stuff a bit. It's like even the spiritual stuff is science. It's science fiction first, and then there's like a kind of a cosmic, semi-spiritual element to it. Whereas this is just it's literally a retelling of a book from the Bible, and it's very clearly about like a small family.
Yeah.
It follows their lives, and
it's
you
about
really feel what they feel,
and like it's about being an American and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Which in that sense is just like this is what it's like living under like capitalism, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you could read a lot of ways. Yeah.
But in that like spiritual sense that you're talking about, that is like Stalker in that sense, which is also a different 2001.
Yeah.
It is very
because that's adapted from science fiction as well, but it's more in the bent of a Tree of Life kind of thing.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
This is what you could actually compare this to is Interstellar.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to bring it up because it'd be too cringe.
No, but like that's what I'm thinking of. It's just like the modern,
the modern
2001 and the modern Stalker is the Tree of Life in Interstellar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. The modern 2001.
Oh Jesus!
I think that's a really cogent comparison.
My God, dropping nukes on the power bomb.
I think it's a really good. That's a piping hot, correct take in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like the vibes.
I think you're bang on. I think Interstellar is way more kind of a lovey-dovey, spiritual kind of. But yeah, the kind of Nolan-esque. It's like he's like a man in a white coat making the film in a lab or something like that.
The cool things about Interstellar is less so the plot and story and stuff like that, and more so the way that it deals with physics.
Yeah.
And the way that it talks about time and stuff like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Which in a similar sense is 2001's like, look at the cool camera work and like the mad, technological advancements that we're talking about with this film. And then like Tree of Life is way more about the emotion and spiritual, stuff like that.
Yeah.
in a similar sense to Stalker.
Yeah. But Interstellar still had those elements towards the end where it's like you
Yeah,
have...
and it falls flat on its arse, doesn't it?
Well, there are parts of it, I think, that do work.
Like, for me, the emotion doesn't connect in Interstellar.
Yeah. But you do have the same thing. Like that, the scene where he's like, Murph, Murph.
Yeah.
That's like, it's a way more hackneyed version of maybe the end scene. That's in my head. That's how I kind of perceived it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way more like, just not as good version of the end of Tree of Life.
Yeah.
I think it's just the same kind of thing, or it's like but yeah, like they're Nolan accesses it through more of a technological, like hyper rationalist lens. Like he's gone through it. He's basically traveling back in time with this crazy device to see his little girl. Yeah. Whereas in Tree of Life, it's just like, this is just like an entirely different dimension.
Plane.
Yeah,
But they're like, it's like, because Interstellar this is what the fourth dimension looks like.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And apparently it is like, it is like an accurate kind of way that we could conceptualize that. It's something that we can't imagine.
It looks really cool.
It looks really cool, and it makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
And then Tree of Life is like, here's like a different form of a different plane of existence, rather than a different dimension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is the spiritual side of stuff.
Yeah.
The very, very Christian, very, very religious side of stuff as well. Because, it is a mad religious film, but, it's one I can vibe with.
This is a film that makes me want to be religious. I wish I was religious.
I'm sure it's pretty freeing if you believe.
Yeah.
Like,
it just seems just really cool. It's a great vibe. It's just like, it's a kind of uplifting as well.
It is uplifting.
Uplifting.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
It is a good film.
It's top drawer.
Will it be as good as Avatar 2?
No. No way. I think Avatar 2 is going to blow it out of the water.
I think Avatar 2 is going to be the greatest film ever made.
Yeah, I think that's why Terrence Malick is kind of reluctant to release his next film.
He's waiting.
Because he knows what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Avatar 2 is just like going to blow it out the water.
Disney is swinging. And James Cameron is the one leading the fist.
Yeah, he's the knuckle duster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The trailer for Avatar 2. This is the segue into our new section of the podcast. The trailer for Avatar 2 finally came out this week.
Got to see what it looks like.
We only had to wait 13 years.
Is it 13 years?
Yeah.
2009, is it?
13 years.
Damn.
Well, it's 12 and a half years, but...
Damn. That's a long time.
Yeah. But when you think about it in a cosmic sense, it's actually not.
Yeah, time is a flat circle.
Yeah, that's true. Love is the only thing that transcends time and space.
Wild. That's crazy. What did you think about this trailer?
I thought it was shit. I thought it was a terrible trailer. I thought it was terrible.
I can see what you're talking about.
It's rubbish.
When I watched this trailer, it's like, I like the visuals, but it looks like the exact same film.
I didn't feel a single if they had me hooked up to my body hooked up all these sensors. When you go to get a fitness checkup or whatever, they stick me on the treadmill.
The treadmill, yeah.
And they have the little finger thing to monitor my
heart. The lie detector.
And they put me on a fucking polygraph. Yeah. And they had me watching the Avatar 2 trailer. I would have just not changed at all.
Flatlined.
Yeah, nothing. I would have died. Yeah, it's flatlined. I wouldn't have changed anything at all. I just didn't feel a single thing. It was like looking at a blank wall. It was like watching
paint dry.
Yeah, it was like watching paint dry. I didn't feel a single thing watching it.
Did you not feel? I don't know. There's something watching this trailer.
I wanted to feel something,
but when I was watching this trailer, I was like,
James Cameron.
I don't believe that this is real. I can't believe that Avatar 2 is coming out.
Why?
I just feel like something. I switched into a different timeline at some point. This.
And you're like, remember Avatar? Everyone's like, what? Yeah. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I just feel like. I remember hearing after Avatar when I was younger, there's going to be more Avatar films. I was like, no, there's not. There's no way. It's been too long. And then, looking at Letterboxd, James Cameron, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're having 4 more Avatar films.
I can't wait.
By the way, Avatar 2 and 3 filmed back to back. So we're getting 2 films very quickly, one after the other.
Avatar 3 comes out in 18 months. Imagine that.
I can't even imagine Avatar 1 coming out. Or Avatar 1, Avatar 2.
Avatar 2
I just feel like this is... We're in a weird timeline.
I think this could save cinema.
I feel like you know the way that we were talking about like when Texas Chainsaw was coming out, like the newest one, and we were saying that if this is good, world changing events. I feel like Avatar 2, similar thing. If this thing is a box office smash,
it could be an omen.
It's an omen. Disney owned this film.
Yeah,
they own MCU.
What do you mean good? Like an omen in what kind of way? Like a bad way, or is like?
I just feel like it's like.
Is this the top of the? Is this the crest of the wave?
You know,
would this be like everyone reacts to Avatar 2 hits $3 billion? The headline hits every major newspaper in the world, and people are just like
Disney buy another studio company afterwards.
People are just like, nah, fuck this.
Nah, fuck this. Had enough of this.
Yeah, I think it could. I think it could be like a kind of an omen for something anyway, because this film is supposed to come out originally. I remember looking it up. It was supposed to come out in 2012. Some 10 years. So what have they been doing? Why is it taking so long to come out? And why is it coming out now? Like, not even just asking that in terms of production and like delays, like supply chains, like writing and stuff like that. Like, what being has chosen for this year to be the year for Avatar 2? It just seems very like it's been chosen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like been preordained. Yeah.
It's like the timeline is off.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like they're gonna wipe out the last 10 years or something. Something weird's gonna happen.
Like, it just.
Yeah.
But it also.
It feels like some kind of intervention, some kind of trans-dimensional intervention.
I feel like. Like, do you think this film's gonna be nostalgic?
No, I don't think so at all.
I don't think so either. But I feel like
nostalgic and like trying to be nostalgic, or as people are like, oh, remember Avatar?
Yeah, just like because like
I don't think so at all. By the way,
I have only ever seen Avatar once. Yeah. And that was in cinemas, and I was like, that was fantastic. I love that film. And then I grew up, and I was like, and I looked back at the film like, it probably, you know what, it's not that good, but like I remember the hype about Avatar. Everyone saw Avatar. Highest grossing film of all time.
Everyone saw it. I saw it twice. I saw it twice in cinemas. It was class. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing.
Great 3D.
Great 3D, yeah. It was just a great film.
A great cinema experience. Will Avatar 2 be that? I hope that it is.
I really hope that it is. But
I'm backing this film. I feel like
I've been backing this film since 2009. I've always backed this film. James Cameron, they said it with Titanic, is too big to fail. It's the biggest film ever made. It's going to be the biggest flop. You know, people compared it to the actual Titanic as it was being made. Ended up being the highest grossing film of all time, one of the biggest movies ever made. Then you have Avatar. People are like, it's too bloated. It's the biggest film ever made. It's destined to flop. Biggest film of all time again. Only better. The second is Titanic. You know, and then you have Endgame and all that stuff. Avatar is still the biggest film of all time.
They re-released it.
They re-released it. Well, that's because Endgame did the same thing. They cheated. They didn't meet the marker, and then they re-released it themselves 2 months after it was released. Anyway, but Avatar 2 will do the exact same thing. It's going to make $3 billion at least. I guarantee it. Disney are going to put half a bill behind
the end of capitalism.
Yeah, it could be. It could be, because I was watching some. I can't remember what it was, but it was James Cameron talking about, because he has this big passion for like marine, I don't know, biology or something, like sea conservation, marine conservation, stuff like that. Because obviously, like he was down. He visited the Titanic like physically, and this Avatar 2 is the first film ever made.
He visited Pandora.
Yeah, he did fucking research on Pandora. You wouldn't be surprised. The guy is insane, absolutely crazy. And the Avatar 2 is gonna be the first film ever with motion capture underwater. So it's like actually filmed underwater. I don't know how that works, but they did do it. But he was doing some talk, and he's talking about how. Basically the effects of industrial capitalism on the world's seas and stuff like that, and like the bottom of the ocean and the, you know, like rubbish at the bottom of the Marina Trench, talking about things like that, and like really railing against kind of like the build up, kind of like the growth mindset, like the build up of industrial capitalism, basically. Like really railing against these things. This guy's, I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire.
Sure, this is what this film's gonna be then.
Yeah. Well, the first one is as well, in a really light kind of way.
Yeah, but this is gonna be at the oceans.
Yeah, this will be about that. But this guy's, it just struck me really weird that he was saying these things when like he's he's made some of the biggest companies in the world billions, like literally over $10 billion probably altogether, and the man himself I think is close to or is a billionaire, but he was really passionately in favor of all these things. Like maybe it's a kind of like fucking suicide mission where he's just trying to bring it all down. He's like grasping people by their lapels. He's like, look at this, look at what they're making you do. Don't take it anymore. Avatar
I'm
2.
mad as hell.
Yeah. It's like, look at this film. I don't know. It was a huge like kind of dissonance to me.
It's so fucking weird.
But,
oh Jesus.
maybe he's just pretending, but it remains to be seen.
I am looking forward to this film with eager anticipation.
We should go see it. Do a special.
Obviously, bro. Obviously, we're doing that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird though? I was only thinking about this. Do you think it's weird that Avatar came out 2009 after the 2008 crash? Avatar 2 comes out 2022, year after the pandemic quote unquote ends. Is there something weird about Avatar coming out?
Stop.
Coming out around big changes.
Yeah, you're setting off bombs up here. I never thought about that.
What does that mean?
Oh no, yeah. But like literally both Avatar films have followed the two biggest recessions in James Cameron's lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly does he know?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
What strings is he pulling?
There's just a weird coincidence or something going on.
Yeah, but what's a coincidence? And like, at what point does it stop being a coincidence?
What does he know?
What does he know?
I don't know.
There is something happening though. There's something weird about that film.
There's
something seriously
it's a
strange.
fucking film.
Or it's blessed.
And even the fact like Sam Worthington, that's his name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Haven't seen him since Avatar.
The last thing he was in was Terminator Salvation in I think that was in 2009.
Or Clash of the Titans 2.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah. Yeah, that was the last thing he was in. His career's been dead for 10 years.
He hasn't done nothing. And now he's back in Avatar 2, like.
Yeah, like what does, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. There is something weird going on. There's something seriously weird. I can't wait to see what happens though.
Yeah. I can't wait for this film.
No matter what happens, I'll be interested.
I've absolutely it's just a weird film to come out. It's the same thing with it's the same thing with The Empty Man. Can't believe that this film exists.
But like in a much bigger scale.
In a much more cosmic sense.
Cosmic scale, yeah. This is biblical.
This is biblical. This is James Cameron's great wave coming down on top of all of us.
Yeah.
Cleanse it all.
It's about the oceans. It's a flood.
It's a flood. Avatar 2 is a flood.
He's gonna wash them all away.
The people are blue. They fade in. The messenger fades in with the flood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. Weird film anyway. That's it.
That's the man himself.
That's what's going to happen. We'll move on to some listener questions.
We'll see.
We have a question in the bag there coming in from Liam. But before we answer his question, you should ask us a question. You should follow us on Instagram or on Twitter at @paro_pod. Or you can contact us via email, theparopod@gmail.com. Our first question is coming in from Liam. And Liam is asking us, COVID films, please.
COVID films?
I feel like we might have already answered this question. But I think we answered the question in terms of isolation. Like isolation watches,
films.
Which I think is different to COVID films. These are two different moods.
Okay, so movies for when you have COVID.
When you have COVID.
Okay.
Shrek 2.
Yeah.
Let's make a list.
SpongeBob.
10 films.
SpongeBob movie. First one. I watched that the weekend. It never gets old.
No.
It's such an amazing movie. Such a great message.
Cozy.
Yeah.
Nostalgic.
Great music.
I'm nostalgic for that
music.
film.
Yeah. I'm seriously nostalgic for it.
That late 2000s.
Early. Or was it?
It's late 2000s. Simpsons movie's like 2008, isn't it?
A SpongeBob movie.
Oh shit. Sorry, I was thinking of the Simpsons movie for some fucking reason.
Simpsons movies is not as good.
Yeah, so that's mid 2000s. It's like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.
Somewhere around there.
Maybe 6. Sorry, Shrek 2, SpongeBob movie. Not the Simpsons movie. That's two cozy films. Or two animated films. I feel like you need to see a fucked up film when you're, in COVID. I feel like you should watch Come and See. I feel like
That's the worst suggestion I've ever
I feel
heard.
like the mixture of nausea, the flu, and the imagery of come and see.
Man, you lose your will to live. Like
that is-
you let COVID win.
that is
That's the COVID inside you telling you to say that.
That is a
That's the stay behind forces.
that is a concoction that will have negative effects in your life. But I think if you make through it, it will be transcendental.
if you make it through.
Yeah, if you make it through.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. Come and see. What did you watch when you were quarantined? I can't remember really. I can't really
Go
remember.
back. We could probably find out. I could tell
Did
you.
we talk about that?
I could tell you exactly. We were talking. Two of us were
Oh,
isolating.
well, yeah, we did talk.
we
about
recorded
it.
on a podcast.
We recorded the fucking
Yeah, we
podcast.
recorded the podcast, so we can just go back and check.
Yeah, what did we watch?
What did we watch?
That's a good question. It's episode 20. Our greatest ever episode. Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah, because it was a Christmas episode. Spring Breakers.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a COVID
Christmas
movie.
with the Cranks.
Falling down.
The
Possession.
Possession. Yeah, scratch out, come and see.
Yeah.
Knock on Possession.
Oh my god.
That's a COVID film.
Soul.
I made it through that. Soul's a good COVID film.
Yeah.
The latest Pixar film, Turning Red, would be a good COVID film. Cozy, you know.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Also a good COVID film. Dance of Reality, that's a fucking terrible COVID film. That is a terrible COVID film.
What was that one about?
It was the fucking, what's your man's name? Holy Mountain.
Oh,
Jodorowsky.
Yeah, and it's like the weird
He
edible thing.
wants to fuck his man.
Yeah.
It was a terrible COVID film. Yeah, what did I watch the week after? Texas Chainsaw, we watched with COVID as well. Mandy's a good COVID film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was
School of Rock.
Mark, that was, sorry. The Texas Chainsaw episode is 100% the COVID episode because we talked about Mandy for 25 minutes and then talked about Texas Chainsaw for an hour.
Did we?
Yes, that is 100% the COVID episode because the two of us were too bollocks to watch anything else.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah, I remember being fucking dog tired, yeah. Yeah, we watched 2 films. That's mad. I remember that episode, yeah. Well, we had a lot to talk about.
We had a lot to talk about. I think a good horror film. COVID.
I think just a cozy film, you know.
This is the difference between us two.
Yeah. School of Rock.
School of Rock.
Yeah.
The Before trilogy.
Yeah, you feel in isolation. You feel like fuck this.
No, I feel like give you hope.
I suppose, yeah.
You know.
They do one or two things.
Yeah. You should watch like a mad erotic film. You should watch Crash.
Porn. Just watch porn.
Just watch porn. Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Just watch porn. We watching movies.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Yeah, Crash.
Crash.
Yeah, imagine watching Crash for COVID.
Oh fucking hell. Jesus. You should watch what's that one? Contagion.
Yeah, Contagion, yeah.
Yeah,
Very topical.
As you have it. No, Shrek 2.
Shrek 2, SpongeBob. School of Rock. That'll be my picks.
Possession.
Yeah, sneak Possession. Do it all in one day as well.
Yeah, do it all one day. It's great.
In chronological order as well. Finish on a bang.
Finish on a fucking... Oh, Jesus Christ.
And our next question comes in from Neil, and he's asking, would you rather have a permanently invisible head or a permanently invisible body? It's a very intriguing question.
So when they say body...
So everything below the neck. That's
So
how
yeah,
I
I
would interpret
was thinking just torso.
Yeah. Well, what do you like? So legs and arms would be visible.
Invisible.
Oh, that would be freaky.
Yeah. So I'd go for that. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
You just have an invisible torso. Look like one of those. Your man out of Spyro and what you call it? Remember those video games? Rayman.
Yeah.
Remember Rayman?
Yeah, I looked like Rayman.
Looked like Rayman.
But he had a torso. But yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because what can you do with an invisible head? People wouldn't know that you're staring at them, I guess.
Yeah, you can stare at people, say things.
Just never wear a cap.
Yeah.
Make it obvious.
Yeah, just a headless body going around. Because I got into this habit. Or like, you know, when we had to take all the masks off and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but like I'd still be talking, you know, because I used to just talk into my mask or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or like I'd be like, oh fucking stupid cunt, or like if someone like it's true, I don't know. It's just I just say things under my breath, you know. But now, or no, when we first took the masks off, I forgot to like. It took a while to readjust to like just saying, because like you can't do that when people can see your face.
So you just do that all the time.
I just do that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth really having an invisible head.
Just to bitch about people under their breath.
Well, no, just be like, oh fuck's sake, oh,
Yeah.
jeez. I do that a lot. I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah, I feel like there's more. You can do more with an invisible body.
Yeah, yeah. But it'd be mad weird, wouldn't it? What would you do with an invisible body?
What wouldn't I do?
Oh.
I don't know.
Knock things over.
Knock things over, you know. I just like smack things and people like, oh, what the fuck? I'd be a fighter.
A fighter.
I'd be a fighter.
And they wouldn't know where the punches are coming from.
They wouldn't have a breeze.
And they'd be like, who knocked that glass over? Oh, it wasn't me.
No, it'd just be an MMA, you know.
You'd be an
Yeah, it'd be an MMA fightter.
A floating head. Yeah.
A floating head. It's like you only have one target. You can't hit my body.
So just go all out for the head. Yeah.
It's like, ooh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like a floating head could be a great fighter.
Yeah, I feel like
It has to be in the movies.
yeah, it could just be in the movies, yeah. But like, because you could compensate for a floating head by just wearing a suit, you know, because then you'd look completely normal. Whereas
you wear gloves.
You can't compensate for an invisible head unless you go the Invisible Man route and just like, you know, do the bandages around your head.
Or wear a mask.
Yeah. Wear like a
Michael Myers mask.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, who's your mate? That's just that's just the way he is.
Remember Neil told that story.
Yeah.
His head.
Yeah. It just disappeared. And all those little minions.
Oh, fuck it up.
What an image.
Oh, fuck it up. Remember, we only started recently laughing about that again, didn't we?
Yeah, who were we telling it to?
We were telling it to...
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
We were telling it to Graham and Rachel or something.
Yeah. There was
They're
other
just
people
like,
there, I
"It's
think,
not
as well.
funny." Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking gas. Fucking hilarious. Oh, good boys. Good
Yeah.
boys.
Those are the days.
Those were the days. It was only a few months ago, to be fair.
Yeah.
Time, man.
We'll be there again.
We'll
And
be
again,
there.
and again.
And again. And again. And again.
A lot like the Parapod.
I like the Parapod, like next week. Things end. We move forward. On to the next one, as we say.
Life is suffering.
We're talking about Ganja and Hess. Next week. Recommended film. Not sure what it's about. It's about vampires. It's meant to be very good.
Episode 88.
Episode 88. See you there.
Bye.